Open your mind.
Good evening and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have myself, Alan James.
And you have myself, Stephen George. A very good evening.
It's Sunday the 23rd of March 2014. Good evening. We were planning to have a guest on, a chap called Piers Coburn, who's from Weather Action. Piers is actually in the States at the moment, and I did have a chat with him during the week. And it was going to be a little bit of hit and miss because he wasn't too sure where he was going to be for the time of the interview, and unfortunately we can't get in touch with Piers. He is obviously tied up. But I will say that if you remember a couple of weeks ago we had Jaypee on, and we said that we'd do a part 2 with Jaypee because we didn't really finish what we were talking about. So Jaypee has currently decided to come back on OYM to finish off part 2, and Jaypee's going to be with us up to about 8 o'clock. And then what we're going to do is we're going to catch up on the bits and pieces that happened during the week. And we're going to be talking about one or two free energy things as well. So for all you techies out there, you'd be interested in listening to that. And then we're going to have Melanie, what did you say her last name was?
I think it's Vritschan.
Melanie Vritschan from the ICAACT. Now she works alongside Lars and Jesse. And so we'll be just kind of catching up with Melanie and find out what she's doing at about 8:15, 8:20, something like that. But before we do that, let's find out what the communication channels are.
Well, before we find out the communication channels, I just want to let everybody know that the PIR, that's the People's Internet Radio stream, is currently down at the moment. I know that the lads over there are working on the stream, so as soon as we get the green light or the thumbs up from them, we will be going live on that stream as well. But anyway, yes, communication channels. Just, Mary, how can people communicate with us this evening?
The communication channels are email info@oymireland.com, by phone 046 927 1212, and you can also contact us direct through the OYM chat room.
04692711212. If you're ringing in from outside the Republic of Ireland, it's 00353 469271212. Also, we are monitoring the People's Internet Radio chat room, and we're going to be monitoring our own chat room as well, and say a big hi to everyone in both of those chat rooms. If you want to log on to ours, it's oymradio.com. Click on the live chat button on the left hand side, and all questions for our guests this evening will be copied and pasted and asked at the appropriate times. Alan.
Fantastic, Steve. Okay, now normally what we do is we talk about things that happened during the week, and then Steve's week's my week. We're going to do that after 8 o'clock because Jaypee is only with us till 8, and there's loads of things we're going to be talking about. So without further ado, we're going to bring Jaypee in. Good evening, Jaypee. How are you doing?
I'm all right, my friend. How are you, Alan and Steve?
Not too bad, not too bad. And good evening to the listeners on Wolf Spirit Radio as well, because we're live there as well, I believe, Jaypee.
Yeah, we're live on Wolf Spirit Radio on everbeyondradio.com, and later on we'll have No Borders Radio from Scotland joining in with us. But until that time, we'll be there's plenty of chat rooms to look out for. So I'll try and do my best. But if I'm not getting anything, just send me a message on Skype or something like that, and I'll be able to deal with it. But there's loads and loads of things that need to be monitored, and I don't think I've got enough eyeballs to see that. But anyway. Where did we leave off?
Not to worry. Well, where did we leave off? Well, we said we'd kind of catch up with the whole energy thing and what's going on. There seems to be just so much going on at the moment globally. I mean, unbelievable. Every day something else goes on. Apart from the fact also that you have missing aircraft for 2 weeks, the MH370 aircraft that's, hasn't shown up. Loads of conspiracies as to what happened. I mean, I can count probably about 4 or 5 different conspiracies that are actually out there at the moment, what people are saying, and some of them could be. I mean, okay, if you apply something like Occam Razor's theory of what's ever most probable, basically that's it. So it's a plane crash and they've crashed, but there's no debris, nothing can be found. They can't find anything, and there was a saying that was out there that somebody said, and I thought was quite appropriate. They said the Malaysian government didn't want to say anything for a week because they didn't know what happened, and the American government didn't want to say anything a week because they do know what happened, which I thought was quite appropriate, being you know what the Yanks are like. But yeah, we were talking about everything got to do with the energy change and things going on. So I think we just pick up from there, from where we left off. And we were saying about this wave that's coming in. And we've just, I mean, this is the third day of the actual the March equinox. And the next thing we're going to have is obviously April 15th, which is the first of the blood red moons, which they say is very historical and things happen on that day as well. And trust me, from a personal point of view with family, there's two things on that day that are happening from a family point of view, from my end anyway. So what a coincidence. But yeah, I think let's pick it up. Now, one of the things I said to you before we went live, and if you could dig this up or just talk to us about it, you know, there's a few people out there that I kind of keep an eye on. And I see what they have to say about it. The likes of Nancy Leader, the likes of Cobra, the likes of James Gilliland, and a number of other people, and Alex Collier being one of them. But we haven't heard a lot from Alex. And you said that you had some information from Alex there. So do you want to start off with that, Jaypee?
Well, yeah. One of my erstwhile listeners, he's been a listener for several years now, is a really nice... His name is James Harkin, and he runs various websites, so, you know, self-improvement and, you know, various like dietary things. But he has made a website for Alex, and I think it's Lindsay Williams, Pastor Williams. He's made these websites for these guys who don't do their own thing. You know, they don't have their own web presence, but he's done it for it. And if you put a donation in, it doesn't go to James at all. It just goes straight into Alex's PayPal. So if you do want to help Alex, with, you know, just put a few bob in the PayPal and see what happens. Oh, a few bob. Sorry, that's a very old English phrase. A few coins, a few bitcoins, a few PayPal credits or whatever. You know, the more people do it, every little helps.
Yeah.
Now, as far as Alex is concerned, he put out a message. It came out by email, and James posted the email onto alexcollier.org, so you can all see it. You can all tune in to, let me just type it in, alexcollier.org, and the first post, and I'll just pull out a few bits. I won't read it all, but he has recently been looking at the financial system and you know, certain elements about the powers that be. And for some reason, I have no internet available to me, and I can't even get onto that page. alexcollier.org. Name not resolved. Oh, maybe I haven't spelt it right. It's hard to see if I put enough L's in there. I think I've got the two L's there. Yeah, there we go. As in the French, if you haven't got two L's, you can't fly. So from Alex's point of view, I can't pull it up on my thing, so I'll pull it up on my email, because I received it via email a few days ago, and I'll see if I can find it. All right, dismiss all those. Oh my God, I've got so much going on. So Alex is he's been looking at the recent.
Jaypee?
Oh dear.
Is he gone? No. Okay. That's strange. He just disappeared.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, there's a problem with the call. We're going to try and get it back. That's a strange, and I think he may have connection problems with his own internet, because that page that he was looking for, that's alexcollier.org. I have it actually open here. It's a well put together page. And just when he was saying about Lindsay Williams not having a website, I think the last time we spoke to Lindsay Williams, he didn't have a website. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, is because he did have one, and the information that he was putting out, he was putting that up on his website, and he was politely told by, as they were kind of termed at the time, powers that be, that he should take it down and not put this information. He can go around, he can talk about it, but he is not to have it up on a website. So. That's Lindsay Williams. I'm going to have to check that out now and see if we can get access to Lindsay Williams' webpage. Well, no, we're still having internet connection problems with Jaypee. I can only assume if Jaypee had internet connection issues, maybe it's just gone on the fritz, as they say.
Okay, well, what we can do is, well, there's not much we can say.
There's not much we can say.
We'll wait for Jaypee to come back on. We'll try and get Jaypee in, but and we can't really talk about the Alex Collier thing because at the end of the day, Jaypee has the information on that. But we can talk about the MH370 flight and loads of conspiracies out there as to what happened the actual flight. Conspiracies from they've been taken by ET to the fifth dimension. That's the kind of the really open-minded one we've heard. Two, that they've landed to an island. There's apparently an island somewhere in that area, and the runway apparently is about 11,000 feet long. It's very, very long runway because that plane, I think it's a 777, and that would need quite a long runway to land. And this is probably an American military base or something like that. The island is used for, and that's where the plane was put down. Now, the other side of it was the fact that there was 20 people on the plane who were engineers or designers, and 4 of them had a patent for some semiconductor technology or company. There was something involved with semiconductor. Anyway, the whole idea was that the patent wasn't approved, and there was 5 people on the patent, and the last person on the patent was a Rothschild-fronted company. But Jaypee, are you back?
I am indeed back.
Wow!
Oh my God.
What did you do?
What did you do? You need to call tech support there, Jaypee?
Yeah, I know. I just went over to burst into the kitchen, said to my son, "What are you doing on the thing?" I got no internet. But all the lights had gone out on my router, so I had it was a hard router. So we're sorted now.
Okay.
Great apologies for that. Now, where was I? Yeah, Alex Collier. I was looking up Alex's the email that he'd sent. And seeing if I can pick it up from here, and it should, yes, here it comes. Right, so, it's funny, the weird internet issues today. Right, so, first of all, he's talking about war in general. Now, war in general is, I'll just read it. A lot of talk regarding a global currency reset. If you're not aware of this, please look it up and do the research. And you can check out Lindsay Williams' website regarding that. The bottom line is this. Only 3 countries don't have a private central bank not run by the Rothschilds. North Korea, Syria, and Iran. So, I mean, that basically says it all. This is what war is about. It's not about territory. It's not about resources. It's about the gold.
Yeah. Okay, and
so that was his first thrust. Do you want to discuss any of that?
Well, I think we're aware of that most of the world is controlled by the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers with their central banks, and that North Korea, Syria, and Iran. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And obviously they want to get in there as well. And we've talked about the global reset. Benjamin Fulford mentioned it he said, I think the 4th of March he mentioned, but he said chances are it won't happen. But Patrick Henningsen said that it's a case of when rather than if. So they do believe it's going to happen, they just don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, like a thief in the night.
Yeah, exactly.
And indeed, when you're talking about the Rothschilds, we're talking about thieves in the night, thieves in the day, thieves in the morning, thieves in the evening. Anyway, so he continues. What we really have going on is the collapse of the fiat monetary system to be replaced by a commodity system where each country pledges its raw materials and true wealth to a private central bank run by, of course, the Rothschilds banking syndicate. When in a year to 3 years they take over the whole planet to instill the new world order, or whatever they want to call it, they will have this title of ownership to everything in the ground and above. So, please don't be fooled by this move. Yes, it will help some and give some breathing room and the chance to help others. But in the end, it amounts to the same thing. A monetary system on Earth is about control. That is why most, if not nearly all, of off-world civilizations don't use a monetary system. Even many of the regressive races don't use a monetary system. because their own kind would rebel.
Yeah. Okay.
Thoughts?
I'm getting a repeat there, Jaypee. I don't know.
You will get an echo off me. Don't worry about it. It's if my mic is open, you'll hear yourself back a little bit, and then I'll close down the mic. So that if you'll hear it first, and then I'll fade myself down as soon as you start speaking.
Okay, no problem at all. Okay. And is there any light at the end of the tunnel?
All right. So here we go. The next part. He talks about timelines. So basically, there will be an offer of a new monetary system that is resource-based, but it's basically another scam, another rip-off, another Ponzi scheme designed to strip the world and give it all to the Rothschilds. So here, I would like to address something that I and others have spoken of years ago. This is Alex speaking.
Right.
The playing with time travel and the opening of portals that connected to other or created other parallel realities. I was made aware of 3 that had occurred. The first was the Germans in the 20s and 30s with the help, if you really want to call it that, of those representing a small group from the Aldebaran system, the Order of the Dark Sun, or the Black Monks. This timeline is the last to be merged into our present reality. It's been occurring for many years. However, because of its extreme negativity, the process of merging was slowed down considerably as to not shock all of humanity. This must be concluded before we cross the galactic plane, I have been told. I have no definite timeline for this event yet, and I really believe that timelines are no longer relevant as everything's based on consciousness of humanity and is now fully intentional-based events. We'll talk about that. This third timeline is based on a total fear and control of the fascist global and Orion group ET control. I am told it is very dark. Many children are born underground to hide them from the system. We see this coming about into our present-day reality more and more with accelerated speed. The jump to 4th and 5th density is directly connected to this event, the merging of timelines. Back in 1996, when I was given December 3rd, 2013, the Andromedans and others saw the highest probability of the regressive and reptilian races leaving and, in fact, running away, for that's what they've always done when they were cornered. Clearly, that has not happened. So, should we talk about that a little bit? Because that's quite an important thing. I don't know if anyone's seen Fringe. You guys seen Fringe?
No.
All right. Well, in Fringe, it's a show. I think it's the series are done, so you can watch it on free TV, and all these places. Download copies of. And it's a really good show. One of the best sci-fi type, paranormal type shows. But anyway, in this, they describe one. He's a scientist, and he was in Project Paperclip. He's part of the Paperclip group, and.
Yeah.
You don't see it, it's not obvious. They don't say it out loud, but they say, oh yes, our name used to be Bischoff and it's now Bishop.
Yeah.
They were German and now they're American.
Yeah.
So that's part of Paperclip. And MK Ultra and all that stuff. But in this show, they've got a parallel universe. And in this parallel universe, they still have Zeppelins, airships. And it's very much a dark New World Order type parallel reality where everybody's badder than they are here.
Yeah.
So they have the same characters over in the other universe, but they're badder. Nastier pieces of work.
Yeah.
So essentially it's a Nazi universe, and it's still connected with this one, and there is a kind of merging that will happen. And again, that's what the show's about, is about the merging of these timelines. And this is what's going on right now. See, what it is that during the 20s and 30s, the Nazis got in touch with these regressive ETs from Orion. Now, the Orion system is like, imagine what we've been told about the Nazi world, about the New World Order. That's Orion.
Yeah.
That's what the energy of the Orion people, the Orion system is, and the Orion Empire. And that's what the whole Star Wars thing's all about, and all this business.
Yeah.
And the Orion group are basically they're trying to make everybody like them, which is basically, it's regressive. And what regressive, I got a good explanation from Stephen D. Kelly the other day about what regressive means. I hear this, and I've never quite understood what it was, but basically the evolution of beings in this galaxy and in other galaxies here, the stage of evolution is, there's a point in evolution where you become this kind of human being, no matter what you've come from, whether you come from a lizard or a reptile or a furry little hamster or whatever, or a bird, and we see people, you see people and they've got like very bird-like features, and that's actually because they originally, they have evolved out of a bird creature and all these different things. And essentially, what they call regressives are those who have refused evolution and are therefore regressing in their evolution and becoming back like how they used to be, which is why they're reptile form or grey form or that or this or that. And that, to me, that really sums up a lot. That's what regressive means. It's that they've so refused to become humane, because that's a stage of evolution. Humanity is a stage of evolution. It's not a race.
Okay, so let's
that's why they're called regressives, and that's why they want us to be like them, because they refuse to take the evolution. They're trying to hold our evolution back.
Right.
Make sense?
Well, that's fine, yeah. And I was actually going to say that to you about Alex talking about December 3rd. 2013 as the time to move, and even Tolak mentioned, obviously the move into fourth dimension. But what you're saying now is, obviously, it's a conscious shift. People and it's a window of opportunity more so than times and dates. And I mean, for argument's sake, Cobra does mention that about the event, and he does happen to say that it's a conscious shift, and people need to be aware. And well, I mean, he had a little poll on his website, and he said, if they could activate the event now, even though it would be more serious, would you want to do it? And something like 88% of people said yes, press the button and let's go. So, and he's just, he was talking about preparing the groups. Now, all this is, you have to take this with a pinch of salt as well. And I am one to do that. I'm open-minded, but I'm also a skeptic as well, because, until you physically see things happening, I mean, I'm still seeing chemtrails in the sky. So until I and myself see physically things happening, I just have to put everything on the fence. So because all I'm saying, with the best will in the world, all I'm saying is information that a man who wants to stay in disguise is typing up on a website, which I could do, which Steve could do, which everybody else could do. Now, I'm not saying the information's wrong. I'm just saying that we need the evidence. We need to see things. Now, we do know that we're feeling energy changes taking place. And even Dolores Canon, who's a regressional hypnotherapist, is talking about this pull between the old 3D and the new 5D, and people coming into your life and going out of your life and all that. And these things are beginning to happen. More so over the last 2 years, with people having more issues with health problems, blood pressure, dizziness, going off food, not getting a lot of sleep. Over the last 2 years, it has kind of escalated. And it's just strange that, all this has taken place. And as you say, Alex said, I know he mentioned the 3rd of December, but he said, well, probably all bets are off now, because at the end of the day, we have to wake people up. And this is what we always say in the radio show, and I'm sure you do as well, Jaypee. Just keep going out and giving people the facts and wake them up, because the more people wake up, the more conscious they're aware of it, we can stop what's going on. And there does seem to be a lot of information filtering through now, even in the mainstream media. I don't know whether, I don't watch a lot, but when I do watch it, there's things that are said, and I'm thinking, wow, go back 5 years, that wouldn't have been said. But it's beginning to be said now. So maybe there is a shift on in a positive way, and maybe this split between 3, 4, and 5D is happening.
I really think so. Because, and I'll tell you why. In my personal life, which is a very small life, I don't go out much. I have a few friends who come round, drop stuff around, and so I've got a very limited life. So what I see in terms of, like I said, I don't have a TV. So my personal life is the microcosm of the microcosm of the macrocosm, and it's been very interesting. And it's a lot of the people who call me, people call me for advice and for counselling and to hold space for them while they deal with the process. And there's been an awful lot of process recently, I have to say, loads of it, and this is coming from people who are high-level initiates as well as people on further down the path. In the fridge. Sorry, yes, well, sorry, mayo in the fridge. And the karma that is playing out is what everybody's dealing with. And what I mean by that is that, say you had a past life where somebody murdered you, and there was a really dark time that you had with them, but it was part of a whole karmic retribution thing that needed to be played out. So in this lifetime, you're not going to be murdering them, but they're going to be able to give you something that will kind of compensate. Some sort of energetic rebalancing will go on. Now, in order to go into fourth dimension, we have to let go of everything in 3D. And our emotions are what gets hooked in 3D. That's why we have these things, is because they are people who have not dealt with all of their karmic issues and are still dealing with and denying that they're in an emotional state, and they stay stuck in it when they die, and then they become earthbound. And I've been learning a lot about that because I've actually been talking to these people. Awesome, thanks, Joe. So
be careful, those plants.
Yeah, thank you very much. So it's something that has come up in my world recently, and so here's the basic thrust of this is that in order for us all to ascend, and we all ascend as one, that's the thing, the whole planet ascends as one.
Well, that's contradictory to what Dolores Canon said, because she said the people that are kind of more in tune and more spiritual will ascend first, and then all the kind of selfish, negative people will then eventually follow.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes.
So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying this is the trouble with there's so many different people have different opinions on what's going to happen.
And of course, and it's never happened before, so nobody knows.
Yeah,
it's never happened. So we're just jamming this. We're just improvising our way through this ascension, because there's no other way. There's no rules. There's no manual. And we're going to be writing the manual for the galaxy. That's what it seems like. We're in this unique crossing point of all these different variables where there's going to be some kind of transformation that's going to happen to a lot. All right, let's say a large group. Here's the thing, that there are members of our civilization who have been using these high technologies, and they've created what we call the breakaway civilization. However, they're us. When we ascend, we will become telepathically connected with these people, and they with us. They're going to know about us. They already know about us, but we're going to know about them, and that's going to be a bit of a shock. These people are also connected with what we used to call the Nazis. And it seems that the Nazis are broken up into various factions, and we'll talk about another faction of those in another piece in a minute. But essentially, well, it seems that when we're all ascending, we all become telepathic and we all become aware of each other, and there's going to be no secrets. And this is why we need disclosure, because otherwise everybody's going to go into a shock. It's going to be a shock anyway, but people are going to go into deep shock because, you look at your friends, people who you might meet in the normal daily life have no idea that this is going on. Yeah. No idea that this science fiction world is not science fiction. It's actually documentary.
Can I talk to you, just touch base on what you're saying about this disclosure? Because I came across another spin on Bluebeam which I thought was quite interesting. And the fact that you mentioned it, because you know there's a big push on at the moment. They're all saying about disclosure. Look, we know that they're blah-de-da-de-da. Well, the other spin on Bluebeam, Werner von Braun said the last card will be they will use the fake alien invasion, like Independence Day, the movie, but it'll be their own technology or back-engineered technology plus holographic technology to fool us into thinking that it's an alien invasion, and then we all get together as one race, and then they'll get loads of tax off us to build aircrafts to supposedly fight the bad aliens. Now, the other spin on it was this, that Obama apparently has been selected by other governments as the spokesman for the ET scenario, for the disclosure. Now, they're looking at the psychology and they're saying, well, okay, how can we do this in a way that people won't get all upset and the financial markets and the religions won't go mad? What can we do? How can we do it in a way to put it across to people? So one of the ways they're thinking of is to say that Obama will come on TV and he'll now announce that there is an asteroid or a meteorite coming to hit the Earth, and we're going to be, basically there's a high chance that we're going to be wiped out completely. And people will be going, oh my God. And then all of a sudden he'll say, but we actually have been in touch with ETs for a while, working on this project, and that's why we had to keep it quiet. And the ETs have given us the technology to try and stop this from happening, and we are working on that at the moment. So people will be so worried about the whole kind of, it's a counter worry. I remember watching Only Fools and Horses, and Del Boy said, or Grandad said, or was it Uncle Albert? One of them said, give him a counter worry so he doesn't have to worry about what he's worrying about. So because we're going to have a counter worry with the meteorite hitting the planet, and we don't know whether we're going to survive or not, we'll be worrying about that so much. We won't be worrying about the markets and the religions and everything else and the whole ET thing. We'll be just happy that ET have given us the technology to try and stop this from happening. And I can see the psychology in that. I mean, it makes sense to me to do something like that. And that would be kind of a way to break the ice. And he'll say, well, that's why we didn't say anything, because we've been working with the ETs to try and solve this problem, because we didn't want to worry the people of the planet. You know, that kind of thing. So I don't know whether that's true or whether it's going to work, but there you go. That's another spin.
Well, there is a truth to that, you see. I've been reading and working with Sean David Morton, who's had he got an insight from, well, not an insight, he's got a whole bunch of stuff. His father was a friend of this guy back in the day, who it turns out he was running the world. He was running the secret government. And Area 51 and Dulce and all of those things were dealt with in this book, The Sands of Time, which is essentially the novelization of this guy's journals. It wasn't written by Sean David Morton. He ghostwrote it, basically. And the basic thing is, in the 1940s, it'll be late 40s, early 50s, they perfected time and space travel machine, and also a very powerful gas laser. This laser, I think it was set to 2 out of 10, and it could cut through a spaceship at 2. And this is our planetary defense grid. And you know what they do? This is brilliant. They teleport a laser into space, set it off, and then teleport it back. How cool is that? That's our planetary defense system. That's how it works. And it works out of Area 51.
Okay, and what are they defending?
All right, so in the 1930s and the 1920s, the Nazis with their Bell experiment,
yeah,
and the Americans with the Philadelphia experiment, both were very, very heavy-handed in terms of the amount of energy that they would apply to the space-time continuum. And you can be subtle. You can go in and out of space-time, pop in and pop out without making a hole, without leaving a hole. You sort of make it, you kind of push the bits aside and squeeze through and then pop back. So, and that's what the book is about, is, you know, how to repair those holes that were created in space-time. But the problem with the holes in space-time is that people were getting in. And if anyone's ever seen the Babylon 5 film called Third Space, I would recommend that, because that's who's coming in. If you were to read Sands of Time, you would understand what it was about. But essentially, these beings, they come in, they don't like us, they're not like us, they're nasty, and we have attracted their attention. And these beings are incredibly hostile, they seem. They don't like us, they don't want us around, and they would rather have our real estate, our resources. So, now, I don't know exactly when it was, but it was probably somewhere in the mid-90s that they did send a vessel towards us, which was destroyed by this planetary grid system, this planetary defense system. We do know it works and that it's effective, but the big fleet is not supposed to be here yet. That's the big problem, which is another reason why we have lots of our friends.
What, their big fleet?
They're big, the big nasty fleet, yeah.
Right,
the one that we're all gearing up for. So, in a way, there is a nasty space alien element on its way. But at the same time, we have our friends here. But at the same time, there is a nasty element on this Earth who aren't connected with the other nasty space aliens. There's another group of nasty space aliens who have been running the show for a long time. And I think we call them the Anunnaki or the Tall Whites or the Coneheads.
Well, they're supposed to be
the same people.
Are they not the good people? The good ETs?
The Anunnaki, the original Anunnaki,
Yeah.
the Ninhursag, Enki, and all that lot, they're not who we're talking about. We're talking about these beings that they called the Titans, the gods, and they came here about 50,000 years ago. The other lot came here about 400,000 years ago. And those are the people that Michael Tellinger talks about.
Yeah.
But there's this other god, this other group, the badass gods. You know, the guys who have been running the evil empire since before Babylonian days.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, and it's the same group, and they're Orions, and it's the Nazi New World Order type energy.
So one of the things here on the Snowflake said, and I agree with her on the chat facility, was that we're always nearly there, but we're never quite there yet. Everybody says, "Oh, we're nearly there," but we're never quite there, and I find that to be personally very irritating, because it is always when you see, you hear these people talking, it's always, "Oh, we're nearly there, we're not there yet, but we're nearly there," and this is going on like 2 or 3, 4 years. We're nearly there, and we're never quite there, and that kind of that's annoying. And at the same time, you have to say, look, we know there's an awful lot on, and you can't have a date, but for God's sake, there has to be kind of something, physical that we can see, that we can turn around and go, okay, we can see what's going on and happening.
Okay.
So,
You want that?
I don't know what you think of that.
Let's see. There's the banker quote suicides. They know something's going down, and these guys, they don't want them to talk.
Yeah.
So they know stuff. Dead men don't tell tales. They have very few techniques, these guys. Number one is divide and rule. They'll set one of us against another. They'll for instance, find the toughest guy, beat him up, and say, look, we'll be nice to you if you control your people. And they'll go, all right, then. And that's how we get government, essentially. And we don't need it. Like Alex was saying, we don't need government. We don't need money. We can govern ourselves. We don't need to be governed, actually. Govern means to slow down. That's the purpose of it. It's to slow our energy down.
Well, it's common law and natural law. That's what we can use, and we've used that for such a long time.
Everybody can, you don't need to be a lawyer to understand natural law.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Now, we have a few questions for you, Jaypee. I'm just watching the time, so I'm trying to get everything crammed in. Steve, you have a few questions for her?
Yeah, we do have 2 questions, Jaypee. Question 1 is from Chris, and Chris is wondering, this is going back a little bit there, but is the intent behind the things we do more important than karma or payback? If we genuinely feel regret, then there is no karma debt to be paid. Yes or no?
That's a very interesting thing. What is karma? Karma is where you push against the universe. We're talking about the space-time rip?
Yeah.
Well, basically, the Philadelphia experiment pushed so hard against the fabric of space-time that it tore it. And essentially, karma is our individual pushing against the fabric of space-time, and then it's an elastic-type material, and it pushes back. So you make somebody else feel a way, and they will, or you will eventually get to feel the way they were made to feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
So,
that's, yeah.
you steal some money from somebody and they feel, and all right. If you steal some money from a rich man or you steal some money from a poor man, it makes a big difference. With a rich man, they may have these other things. Oh, I'll sue him or I'll use my force or whatever. But from a poor man, they're just like, oh my God, you just ruined me.
Yeah.
So there are different attitudes, and that produces the different karma. So, and we've all been forced. I have to say, we have all been forced to do bad things. When your family is there's a bunch of thugs and they've got the knives out and they're going to slit your child's throat if you don't comply with them, you're going to comply, and that's selling out. And you may think that's you're absolved, but there are things that happen, and you then have to understand why somebody else that you might be judging is behaving badly in a particular way, why that happens, and it's because of compromise. People are compromised all over the place, and that's again, part of the Anunnaki rules. Divide and rule, number one. Number two is distract. Number three is if neither of those work, compromise. You find a way of persuading somebody to do something. And for that, we get karma. And really, you have to say to the universe, okay, bring it on, let's deal with it, and don't complain about it. If you complain about stuff that's happening, then that creates more karma, you see. You have to realize that the karma is just coming back, and it's like a swing. It's like a child swing. If you want to stop the child from swinging, you don't grab the swing when it's when it's swinging in the middle. You wait till the swing comes up to the top, grabs it, and then bring it back down slowly. And that's the idea of what you want to do with karma.
Well, I always see karma. I always see karma as an elastic band. Sooner or later, it's going to spring back. So,
yes.
And I do believe in the universal law of karma, and I am a big believer that from a scientific point of view, more so than a new world, new age kind of way of thinking. Steve.
Okay, well, before I ask the question, another question here, and this is from Jerry, but before I ask Jerry's question, I'm just wondering, if we're all creatures of some description living on this blue ball floating in space, and the law of karma is there, and we believe in the law of karma, what about when you kill a fly or a mosquito? Is it the same thing? I mean, the fact that you've killed another human organism, a living thing, is the same? Does that mean something's going to come back on you, but maybe because it's a fly, it'll be a smaller, I don't know, when the
charge, isn't it?
Yeah.
The universe is electric, right? If you think about things in terms of electricity, your life is a charge. Your life has got a spark, That's what it is. Inside the fly is a tiny amount of that spark life. But, I've yet to understand why we have wasps and not bees, why we have moths and not butterflies. There's like a dark side creature and a light side creature. And, when a butterfly comes into the room, everybody goes, oh, look, it's a butterfly, fly. When a moth comes into the room, people go, oh, nasty little thing, oh, horrible vibration.
But that's
and when a blue bottle comes in the room, nobody likes it. Some people are like butterflies, and some people are like blue bottles.
But we have a universe of duality. That's the whole thing. Good and bad, black and white, negative, positive. We're in a universe of duality, and the whole idea of moving into 5D is that we're going into a singularity, which is the kind of love, energy of us knowing who everybody is, and we can feel everybody's emotions, blah, 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 blah. So we're moving away from the fear and the negativity and going into a singularity. Well, that's just my understanding, and that's why we have this duality regarding, the butterfly and the moth and the bee and the wasp. We have good people, we have bad people. That's just the way the universe is.
Yeah. So
Choose
so
to
when
be
when
one.
we talk,
Choose which side you want to be on, I suppose.
yeah, are you going to be a butterfly? Are you going to be a blue bottle? I mean, it really, blue bottles are irresponsible. They're a little blind. They're a bit like having an asshole in the room, you know. It's, you know, some of the professors are saying, you know, oh, we won't have these nasty insects after the event or after the whole thing happens going down. I wouldn't miss. I don't think I'd miss wasps and blue bottles. But anyway, they're necrotic creatures. They live on dead matter. That's the whole thing about these things. Some live on live matter. You know, butterflies live on living flowers, and bees live on living flowers, and the others, you know, moths and all that, they live on other things.
Well, somebody has to tidy up the mess, I suppose.
That's right.
You
That's
know?
right. But they mustn't confuse themselves with the CEO. The janitor is not the CEO.
Exactly.
You know?
Right,
Even though the janitor's got all the keys to the building.
Exactly. We have another question for you. Oh, another two. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, JP, question from Jerry. Jerry said he hasn't seen the Babylon thing, but can you ask who's coming in via the space holes?
Hard to say. I'm not clear on exactly who or where they come from. Whether they actually come from somewhere we could actually point to is another matter. Perhaps the hole in space and time that has been torn has a location, but where they are coming from beyond that, I don't know. I'd like to find that out, and perhaps I might ask SDM about that.
I think you should interview Simon Parkes, because Simon was on our show not so
Yes,
long ago,
he's brilliant.
and he talks about that they're putting. This is why they're getting all the money, because they're building a massive Hadron Collider, like something like 5 or 6 times. It's going to be massive, and they have to have this built before 2015 to have a portal back to where they have to go to. And if they don't get this built in that time, then that's it. The game's over. So, and this is why all the money is being sucked out of the system, because they need the finances to build this thing. And he said that. I think he was on the show. We'll have to get him back on. He was on the show about 2 years ago, and great information from Simon. But I think we have another question, Steve, do we?
Yeah, we have 2 more questions. This is a quick one from Lee. Lee is wondering, JP, can you define space alien?
All right, I'm using it in a very loose and almost flippant term. There are, you know, I don't like to talk about aliens really, because they're really they're people. You know, the universe is people by people, and even planets are people too. So regressives are people, and greys are people, although you know they have an intelligence that can be transferred in and out of the body. So, you know, but there are, you know, really alien things. There are cube creatures. There are squiddly creatures. You know, there are metal creatures. There are artificial intelligence creatures. I'm not entirely sure what class these beings belong to. They may be more of an AI than of an organic. You know,
Yeah.
They may be silicon based. They may be hydrogen breathing. They may be ether breathing. They may be methane breathing. You know. The universe is so huge. There are billions of stars in our galaxy. There are trillions of cells in your body. You know, we're talking a similarity in you know, going different ways. One going big, one going small, in the huge continuum. And really, nothing is alien because we're all people. But some people look different. So. Space aliens defined? I don't think you can define a space alien. We can talk about friendly. So I mean, some people say that aliens are the ones that who don't like us. And that's the thing, you know, we're nobody's enemy. We haven't gone out picking fights, but we've found that, you know, people don't like us, you know, just for who we are, you know.
Well, look at what's going on
like
the
being
planet.
Jewish, really.
Yeah, well, look what's going on the planet. I mean, I think it's understandable. You know, I mean, we kill our fellow men for greed and money. I mean, you know, and probably a lot more other sinister things going on that we don't know about. Listen, well, I know we're just watching the time there. Steve, you have more questions for Jaypee?
Yeah, I have one more question that comes in from Pat, and this is from the People's Internet Radio chat. Thanks for the question, Pat. I know other people have been talking about it. Pat did ask a question there. Other people have been making comments. But Pat was just wondering, why have the so-called aliens waited until humanity has reached the present mass? I'm guessing this is to come among us, instead of when the populations were much smaller.
They haven't been waiting. They've been here all along. One of the problems is that humans are very, very timid, very easily freaked out, very easily frightened. If you approached a deer, for instance, a deer and a stag, bigger than you, much more powerful than you, and yet scared of us. So imagine that they may feel the same way about us. That they don't want to scare us, and they have the ability to be, to find them, like a bird hide. They have technologies that can create like a bird hide anywhere they like and observe us. Because they might be fun to watch. It's like a big reality TV show, and so I would say that the answer to your question is ask another question, because they've been here all the time, and they have been writing themselves and others out of our history. But they're still in paintings, and if you look at certain medieval paintings and ancient paintings, you'll see UFOs, you'll see little weird creatures, little elves or demons or whatever they would call them. But, those are the little fellas.
Now, we have a few minutes left, and we haven't really got talking, believe it or not, about the MH370 plane, the disappearance of that, and the actual, they called it UFO, but it's US technology. I mean, when Donald Rumsfeld mentioned, I think it was, did you say 3 billion? They can't find 3 billion the day before 9/11 happened.
Oh, it's a 2.3 trillion.
Sorry, 2.3 trillion. I knew you had the
trillion.
Yeah,
that's more noughts than you can imagine.
That's where the money went to, because this UFO they said they seen in the Ukraine was actually this Dreadnought. That's the name they called it. Advanced technology, anti-gravity, travels at 10,000 miles an hour, etc., etc., etc. And some people think that it was basically just a shot over Putin's bow to say, look at the technology we have, and be careful, Mr. Putin, because you're going to be in trouble. So, and that's the cabal that are showing this technology. So, I don't know. I mean, again, you said you're going to go off and have a look at that. It's going around the internet anyway. The images are there and the video is there. So if you go on YouTube and type in cigar-shaped UFO in the Ukraine, you'll actually see it. Now, so have a look at that, for our listeners if you want to check it out later. Now, the flight, we have a few minutes. Yeah, the flight, the MH...
going on to synchronicity. Yeah.
Sorry?
Synchronicity.org.
Where are you going, Jaypee, sorry?
Synchronicity is, that's Santos, isn't it?
Well, I think Santos, yeah. I wouldn't worry about it now at the moment. Let's just touch base on the MH370. We're beginning to lose you there a little bit as well. I don't know whether your internet is kind of slowing down when you're accessing the page at the same time. But the MH370. What's your take on that?
All right. Well, very interesting. As I was saying in the before the show, the other day, Steve Travesty, my co-producer on the Strange Universe program, we were talking on the back channel and we were discussing various things. And he said, "What's your take on the 370?" And I had no idea. Like I say, I don't watch TV and all that. So I did a little querying, which is basically similar to the technique that I use when I connect to people's rays. And I asked a couple of questions. And the questions the responses that I got from it were that number one, that the plane was shot at, or they were going to shoot at, with an exotic weapon, a scalar weapon, and who was that? It was a Chinese faction of the Nazis. So Chinese Nazis were going to shoot this thing down with a scalar device. And these things, like I said, that can cut through the airplane. It'll just slice it in half and pull it out the sky. But the passengers and possibly the ship were taken. They were beamed out, essentially. Like in Star Trek, they were beamed out, and that they were taken by a group from Sirius. This is what my dancing was saying, because I said, like, who did that? Was it the Palladians? No. Was this? Yeah, Sirians. Okay. Sirius is a big system. There's lots of planets, so we don't know exactly who they were. But another report has said that the plane itself is currently sitting on the moon, and that there was a vector. They saw a sort of ionic trail that left that scene, and they followed the trail, and it pointed straight to the moon. And they found it sitting on the surface of the moon using telescopes. And
what happened to people on the plane? I mean, assuming this
so the people are safe.
Yeah.
I also asked, how are the passengers? And they're all alive. And that they will all be returned after the event.
Right. Okay.
Now, he said, that's fascinating, Jaypee, because I've just read this report from Max Steele. And he said that the Chinese were going to send trying to hit it with a scalar weapon, and it was taken aboard Goldfinger style, a large ship that has then that they will then return the ship when the time is right.
Right.
So
okay.
That was somebody else's reading of the same situation. So that's my. I'm not saying that I'm a great psychic, but that's what somebody asked me to do, and I did it.
Right. Okay.
And I've got to go.
Yeah. Okay. I know you have to go.
Listen.
Thanks a lot for coming on, Jaypee, and filling in for peers, because great information. I mean, the thing is, we can talk all night about this stuff because there's so much information to talk about, but you have to go off and do your bits, and we have to carry on and do our bits. So listen, a big thank you for coming on. Much appreciated. Again, we'll get you on in a few weeks' time because we still have loads to talk about. But for the time being, Jaypee,
we always will.
Thanks for coming on. Give a quick plug to your radio station.
Everbeyondradio.com is my new .com station. I'll be on that till 5 o'clock in the morning, UK time, 6 o'clock in the morning. Tonight, I'm 10 hours in the saddle, guys. Bless your hearts. Thank you, everybody who's listening. And those of you who are listening to my stream, we'll be back in a few minutes with Katie Galante and Out of the Box. Thanks very much, guys.
All right, Jaypee, just stay with us there. Right, we're going to go over to a bit of music from James Gilliland, who apparently this music was channeled to him by a certain race of people. Not too sure who they were. But it's called Anunnaki Return. So we're going to play this, and then after that, we're going to catch up with what happened during the week. Catch you in a minute.
Cool, thank you.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMradio.com, UnitedWeStrike.com, and PeoplesInternetRadio.com.
Okay, we're back. Gremlins in the system. We do not know what's going on, but it's strange. This is kind of it's not a regular problem, but it's kind of a bit of an intermittent problem that has cropped up from time to time. We're not sure if it's an internal issue or if it's an external issue. Maybe I don't know. It's the content we speak of. Maybe we're being hacked. We're going to have to put up some I don't know, a firewall or something of some description to stop people getting in. Anyway, Alan's just tidying up a little bit of doing a little bit of tidying up over there. So I'll just kind of skip forward, if I may, and just say I did post up on the chat room earlier about some information that was brought to my attention during the week, and it was in relation to fluoride. I did see an article on TV3, that's an Irish TV station, where they spoke about the water fluoridation and said that there was so much controversy going on about this. It was kind of a hot topic, a hot potato that had been brought to the government's attention, and the government had agreed that they were going to look into it. Basically, they were going to get a team of experts and they were going to have a look at this issue. Well, I think we don't need a team of experts, because all we need is for them to look at other European countries and see that other European countries have either stopped the process, banned the process, or have never undertaken the process to begin with. So I think, instead of getting a team of people together who are going to be, probably pro fluoride to begin with, I think they just need to look further afield in the EU. Anyway, what happened during the week was, and this is just kind of my week. I know we're jumping ahead, but that's due to the technical issue. But my week, my daughter came home from school. She's 13 years of age. She's in first year in secondary school. I think that probably equates to high school for our non-European listeners. And she was given a project to do. It's just funny that the project has come up in this week, kind of around the same time where the mainstream media start talking about the fluoridation issue. Anyway, the project was given to her by her home economics teacher, and the project was, what is fluoride and how is it good for you, or how does it benefit you? So she came home and she told me this at the dinner table. I actually thought she was winding me up. I thought she was just kind of playing silly. So I played along, and she kept on saying, "No, Daddy, I'm not messing. I'm genuine. This is what I've been asked to do." So I jumped on my high horse. I couldn't believe it. The voice went up about 2 octaves, and I said, "I'll get you so much information." And then I realised, don't get her lots of information. Just how should I approach this to give her the minimum information in layman's terms and get the point across. So we've been privy to a lot of information over the years, as have you all. So I kind of got that information, and I just gave her a few words, and that was really it. She kind of filled in the blanks herself. But I basically told her that what is fluoride. I told her exactly what it was, how it came about, where it comes from, and what it is. So she put that into her own words, and she wrote that down. The section where she had to do the benefits, how does it benefit us? She just basically put in a couple of words saying fluoride has absolutely no benefit to humans whatsoever. And then on the next line she said, carrying on from that, I decided that because there was no information on the benefits, I'd give the information on the bad stuff. So she put in all the information there about that it doesn't really help your teeth at all. It accumulates inside, and so on and so forth. Now, the project hasn't been corrected or collected yet, so I've yet to find out what a teacher says. But I asked her, was she happy enough with what she put down? She said yes. She said that she doesn't mind standing out from the crowd because she feels that if she goes in with the information that's backed up by science and she gives it to her teacher, and it may inspire a conversation or a debate in the classroom, but either way it's going to get people discussing the issue anyway. And that's kind of my week in a nutshell, really. So it's nice to see it coming onto the mainstream.
Fair play to your daughter doing what she's doing, and sticking to her guns and saying it, because fluoride is not good for you. Okay, we just have before we get Melanie on, Steve's just going to contact Melanie now and just let her know we're going to give her a shout in a few minutes. But now, if you remember a few weeks ago, we had Tony Z on, a couple of guests on, and Miles and another lady, Sharon, and we were talking about controlled opposition, and we were talking about TPV, and Sharon had experience of working for TPV, as did Miles, and they were talking about certain people in TPV which they feel were not who they really are, and now, obviously, TPV doesn't like Synchronicity.com and Tony Z and everybody else there. And on one of the websites, which I'm not going to say what the website, because that would be given advertising. I'm not going to do that. But basically, it said Synchronicity.com website exposed. It says here, this website ticks the boxes of a conspiracy site. Below is the article inciting hatred and the information relating to Synchronicity.com. This site is also linked to Open Your Mind Radio, who also ran the Charles 7 See link below story, where the woman called me an agent 8 times during a nonsensical and fragmented interview. Now, this chap who said this is a chap called Mark Windows, or for your Gaelic speakers, Marcus Fringe. And basically, what?
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, no.
I forgot to do
Yeah.
den.
Yeah, that's okay. You mean this one?
Hang on. That one. We
Yeah.
actually had that lined up for when we were going. Alan was going to do that piece there on Mark Windows, but because things kind of got out of hand and we had a little technical glitch, we forgot to do it.
Well, we're back again, and there we go. We did the dum. So yeah, so Mark Windows is obviously, saying that we have a banner ad on synchronicity.com. Yes, we do, Mark. That's called cross-marketing, cross-advertising, and we have a banner ad from Synchronicity. Myself and Tony agreed that we would do that to advertise each other. It's called marketing, Mark. I'm sure you know what that means. And of course, we're mentioned because we dare do an interview with a lady called Seven, who told us all about what the BBC were doing and the shows that were stolen or the attempt on her life and stuff like that. Now, you have to remember, people, that when we get people on the show and they tell us all about what they know, it's up to you to decide at the end of the day what resonates with you and what you're happy to. If you like what they say or if you don't like what they say. That's the whole idea. We get the guests on, they give the information, and then obviously you decide in yourself whether you agree with them or not. Now, what really gets on my go, and Steve, I think as well, is that when some other alternative media show, TV show, radio show, start having a go and start dictating to us about people that we have on the show. I mean, we do not go around and tell other radio stations and TV stations, oh, you shouldn't have that person on, and we don't recommend you having that person on. We don't do that. Each to their own. And we expect people to do the same thing.
Actually, we were just saying to Jaypee before we come on, before we actually went live, we were just going to say that to Jaypee, that we do our thing for our show and he does his thing, and we get on quite well, but at no point in time would we ever have the audacity to say to anyone else, we're not going to be part of you or your organisation, or we're not going to, promote you or your work because you spoke to someone or you have this person on your show. It's not a done thing, because we're all individuals. Everyone is individual. We mightn't like someone, but someone else might like them.
Exactly.
It's just the way of the world.
And that's the way it is. So when something like that happens, you have to ask the question, why are they doing that? Is it because they're actually a shill, a troll, and they're being paid to put out this information and attack other people? I mean, you have to ask that question, surely, because nobody else is doing it. So why is he doing it? Why did he say this? So Mark, if you're listening, look, we'll do what we do, you do what you do, okay? And that's just the way it is. End of story. Right, okay, we're going to get a guest on. Do you want to shall we go to a bit of music and get Mel on, or what's the story, Steve?
Well, do we have to mention that else? Or?
Well, do you want to talk about the Aisling?
Yeah, I'll just mention very quickly that Aisling Fitzgibbon, the girl against fluoride, she's having another event in Whelan's Bar. That's in 25 Wexford Street, Dublin 2. It's on Monday, the 24th of March at 8 p.m. for a fluoride presentation with a difference. Aisling will be joined by other activists who will make the audience think while they are laughing as they discuss the real-life issues that are prevalent in Ireland today. Although we are all comedy first-timers, we're not being thrown completely unprepared into the ring. We've all spent the previous weekend being trained for stand-up revolutionary. That's a tough one. With Aidan Killian. So yeah, Aidan Killian. He's kind of, as I referred to him before, as the Irish version of Bill Hicks. I think he does a fantastic job because just like Bill Hicks and the other chap, George Carlin, you're educated. It's not just kind of mindless, nonsensical jokes. It's actually, you get an education, but you have a laugh as well. So you actually come away not quite, well, you remember the jokes, but you more importantly, you remember the information. So that's, Aisling Fitzgibbon, the girl against fluoride. Happy to give Aisling a plug. That's Whelan's Bar again, 24th of March at 8 p.m. and it's in Whelan's Bar 25 Wexford Street in Dublin 2.
Can I just quickly jump in to Agent and Snowflake and Chris there on the chat facility? And yes, guys, Open Your Mind covers all areas. We don't just look at one area, we cover everything. And would you believe, because we cover everything, it doesn't mean we agree with it, but we try and cover everything. People have been let's just say they have a certain opinion, one or two people might have a certain opinion of OYM because we cover everything. Yeah, we talk about ET, but we also talk about, maybe some Freeman stuff, maybe some legal stuff. We do cover everything. Open Your Mind is about opening your mind to everything. And when you start restricting certain parts of information, then you're restricting free speech. That's the way we see it. You are restricting it. When you start saying, we don't have that person on, and we won't have that person on, then you are as bad as the media, the mainstream media, because that's what they do. And in OYM, Open Your Mind, what we do is try and have everybody on and give them a fair say and let you, the listener, decide what you think is right or wrong. If you think ETs are a bit conspiratorial, fine. We know there's a large group of the listeners out there who like to hear what's going on away from the general day-to-day stuff. And that's why we do it. So for anybody who might be constricted in their thinking, just remember there's an audience for every subject. And what we try and do is, it doesn't mean that we agree with it. We just get people on to talk about it and let the listener decide. And that's what it's all about, keeping an open mind. Because free speech, when the alternative media start stopping people coming on because of a certain subject matter, we just start getting as bad as the mainstream media, and that's what we don't want to do. We just say one thing to our guests: no swearing, because there might be kids listening. Simple as that. But otherwise, all subjects are open for discussion. Okay, that's my soapbox bit done.
Okay,
right, Steve.
Put the soapbox away. So.
Okay, so.
Right. Well.
Is Melanie's
standing by in the green room. She's just having a large pina colada.
Right, okay. Shall we bring her on now, or do you want to go to music, or shall we just bring her straight in?
What do you think?
Bring her straight in.
Okay, let's just go with the flow. Melanie.
Yes, hello. Good evening.
And good evening to you. How are you keeping?
I'm okay, and it's a pleasure to be again on your show.
Yeah, Melanie, thanks a lot for coming on. And I know it's short notice, and you were in a meeting with the ICAACT, which is Lars and Jesse.
That's correct.
Yeah, are you being chipped? And I know you're doing a great job over there, but one of the things I do want to make sure we talk about is what happened to you just before Christmas. So do you want to tell us a bit about what you do with Lars and Jesse, and then talk about that instant at Christmas?
Yes, I can do that. So first of all, ICAACT, the International Center Against Abuse of Cover Technology, is an organization, a not-for-profit association, which raises awareness to the crime of non-consensual implantation of citizens around the world with remote influencing technologies, and also provides them with proof that these crimes are happening and have been done to them. And in that framework, I had indeed, before Christmas, written to the European Parliament, in fact, the Libe Committee, which is the Committee for Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs, and I had requested that our technology and legal experts would get a hearing in front of the committee, presenting our results, the radio frequency scanning that we did in a controlled environment here in Belgium. So this is what I was doing before Christmas. And, there were emails getting back and forth from the committee to me and so on, discussing about when this could happening, to the date or how we could organize this presentation. And, very shortly afterwards, not even a week afterwards, there were 3 police officers that, humped on me, in front of my door, in presence of a witness, a friend, who was staying with me over the holidays. And, they were like handcuffing me and said that they would take me to an immediate psychiatric exam, with the aim of actually committing me. So, that was, fortunately I could, prevent this. I was lucky to fall onto, a psychiatrist who was not, a total robot yet, and actually decided that I was not at all mentally ill and that there was no reason at all, for this unlawful arrest and for this attempt, this commitment attempt.
And what country are you in, Melanie?
I'm in Brussels and I'm in Belgium.
Belgium.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a bad surprise. But luckily for me and for all the victims of these crimes, he let me go, and he saw through all the lies and this, which was basically, it was an unlawful attempt to commit me, and did not commit me, and so that's whatever doesn't kill you makes you even stronger, and that for us is very positive, because yet another mental health professional decides that I'm not mentally ill and that these issues are going on, and so he let me go.
I bet you were shocked when that happened. I mean, you obviously were. You were hitting a very sore spot in what you were doing for them to go and do that.
Yes, I obviously must have struck a nerve because, I mean, I had actually 2 years ago already filed a complaint about, this crime, against me, about non-consensual implantation with remote influencing technologies, which I did, I filed a complaint against unknown because I don't know the perpetrator. So, and that was totally ignored, and nothing had happened. And then, strangely enough, more than 2 years later, just when I'm in contact with the Libe Committee of the European Parliament, in view of this hearing of our legal and technology experts on these issues, then suddenly I'm I'm judged mentally ill, and I'm arrested, handcuffed, and shoved off to a psychiatric hospital for commitment. So that strikes me as a little bit too close to this event, that I was probably too close to the aim actually of getting this hearing. Because my complaint exactly about these issues 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, didn't interest anybody and was filed without follow-up. So for me it's very clear that this unlawful arrest was linked to my contact with the Libe Committee.
Okay, this hearing, will you just say that again? The Skype is actually not very clear. So if you can just say that, about the hearing again and what it was in relation to.
Yes, so I had asked the Libe Committee, the chair of the Libe Committee, the Committee for Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs, to get a hearing in front of the committee to present the ICAACT results, the scanning, the phase 3 scanning in the controlled environment, which we did here in a research facility in Belgium, actually.
Well, okay, so just for our listeners, the ICAACT, Larsen and Jesse, you've been doing the microchip scanning, which is what myself and Steve have trained to do with Lars and Jesse as well. And we have the technology over here to do that scanning as well for microchips. So you've actually done that scanning, and you wanted to present that information in a hearing.
Yes, and what is important to say that we did this scanning in a controlled environment. So, and we could prove that within the Faraday cage, people were coming up positive for radio frequency emissions. So with that, we brought the scientific proof that, the emissions are actually coming from the body of the person we scanned, or persons. We were like 14 victims that came from all over the world, actually, to be scanned. And I wanted our legal and technology experts and medical experts to be able to testify to the results of this scanning in the controlled environment in this research facility here in Belgium, and to get a hearing about these issues. And apparently I was already a little bit too close to actually achieving this, because the reaction was that this very shocking arrest with the aim to commit me psychiatrically.
That's incredible. And we have heard this before, Melanie, that people have been arrested and successfully been put away in a psychiatric home because of, the cabal want people to be shut up and locked away. So when I heard that happen to you, because I know that you were interviewed, Detlev interviewed you and talked to you about it as well, and I couldn't believe it. I was shocked, and I'm sure Lars and Jesse were the same way. Now, there's people out there wondering, why are people microchipped, and how do they get microchipped? Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so there are various reasons. Obviously, it is in in view of actually creating artificial intelligence on the basis of the human brain. So that is. Then there's also behavior studies done. Personally, I think that they will probably also monitor once the person is victimized with this technology. How long does it take on average, for example, for him or her to lose all your friends, your jobs, be totally isolated, and eventually, in some cases at least, committed to a mental facility, so that then they can even experiment more on you with even less control. So and protection for the victims. So there are multiple reasons to microchip somebody. It is also, it brings your security and your health in grave danger. There are cancers. You can, from the radiation, you're basically subject to a radiation. The cancer rates within the victims went up. In the victims' community, also, can have a heart attack or a seizure. So, in any case, it brings your health in very grave danger. So, it is also weaponry testing, illegal weaponry testing, of course. That is unfortunately going on a very large scale, globally.
Definitely globally, and it's happening more and more. Steve, we did the training. Did we scan each other when we did the training?
I believe we did, because we had to practice on someone.
Yeah.
If memory serves me, we done a video conference hookup with I think it was Jesse
and Lars, both of them, yeah.
Maybe it was both, yeah. I think they were actually watching us. And they were telling us exactly what to do and how to do it. Now, I know we weren't actually in a secure location, if you like. I know it was. I think it was Studio 2, if memory serves me. But I think we did do the training with them. They showed us exactly what to do, how many times to do it, what parts of the body to scan, and how long to spend going over, and how many. Just obviously jot down the results. But yeah, it was quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that we offer over here to people if they want to get it done, because that was the whole idea. We raised the funds to get equipment to offer scanning. Now, not everybody's going to be microchipped, and not all TIs are microchipped, but it doesn't mean that they're not going through certain issues being a TI. It's just the microchipping is probably the icing on the cake. Is there anything else that we need to know what's going on because we haven't spoken to Lars and Jesse for a while? Is there any new updates, any new technology, or any things that we need to know about?
Yeah, so there's something going on. Regarding me personally, I've been approached by actually a citizens' rights movement and a political movement some time ago in February. And they asked me if I would be ready to run for their movement, for the political movement, as a candidate for the European elections. So the movement is called deboutleesbelges.be, and the president is a member of the Belgian Parliament, actually, Laurent Louis. And we had met a couple of times, and indeed I will be running for the European, to be an MEP at the European elections. I don't think I will actually be, elected, or maybe I will be, but chances are slim, let's say. But what it will do, it will give me and us a platform to talk about these issues and make people aware that this is going on, because then obviously there will be media and press interviews. And I would like to thank you also, because you have also participated in giving us this platform and having Jesse and Lars on a lot of times, and myself. So what actually, brought this political movement, Debout les Belges, to contacting me is that I had indeed listened to a few radio shows and saw, videos that we did with alternative media, and that were, made them interested in, in this problem and in myself, made him contacting me, and now I've decided to run, and that will even provide us with an even larger platform to wake people up and talk about these very horrible crimes, bring this to the public attention.
That's right, get it out in the public. Well, listen, never say never. Never say you won't be. Once the information's out there and you get the support and people know what you're doing and your heart is in the right place and you have the right intention, I'm sure the energy will be behind you. And even if you don't get elected, at least you're getting it out to the public where people are beginning to know about it. And that's half the battle. Waking people up and giving them the information. I was actually going through this subject, and it's something that we're going to talk about, in probably about 15 minutes. Just a few things that myself and Steve have to talk about at the end of the show. But I was educating somebody regarding the dangers, would you believe, of CFL lights, CFL lighting. And where you have the incandescent normal bulbs, they're trying to get rid of them, and they're trying to bring in these energy-saving CFL lights, not knowing the danger of these CFL lights. And I gave the person I was speaking to had an open mind anyway, and I gave her a printout of all the information, that stuff that Walter Graham sent over to me regarding the dangers of these lights, and she's taken it on board. And we're going to see next week when I touch base with her how she gets on, because she's going to be taking them out of the house and just trying normal incandescent light bulbs just to see if there's a difference. And so it'll be a little bit of an experiment. But again, Melanie, I'm sure as what you do and with Lars and Jesse is to back everything up. As you say, you've done the testing in the Faraday cage, so you back everything up with facts, statistics, research and evidence. And I'm sure even you, with all that information, you meet people who are just, they just don't get it, and you probably get frustrated over it.
Yes, that's true. I mean, fortunately, I've been speaking about this problem to different lawyers as well, and I have fortunately now met a few that really take this very seriously, and it would be also in view of at one point doing a class action lawsuit, but even some of the lawyers, I mean, I met one last week, and no matter how much really scientific information you present people with, and in this case, as I said, it was a lawyer, and showed him the ICAACT report and explained, the scanning, and showed him that this report was also approved by the two doctors that are on our board, Dr. John Hall and Dr. Edward Spencer, as being a scientific proof that, people that this is concerning are, emitting these radio frequencies in the Faraday cage, and everybody, I think, can deduct by themselves what that means. He then he said that this is not possible, and he called me paranoid and and what else, and said, "Oh, this is it's most probably a cult." So the thing is that even you have really people that should understand these issues and should be understand what the scientific evidence means, and especially it's even worse. In this case, it was a lawyer didn't just not want to believe it. So I think it really it all has to do with what actually your radio is called, having an open mind.
Definitely.
And being wanting to go this extra step or extra mile, and really look at the evidence, and not everybody unfortunately has that.
Well, what I do is when I come across somebody like that and you're presenting the evidence, is I say to them, well, is that your opinion, or is this research that you've done? And if he says, well, it's my opinion, and I'd normally say, well, I'm not really interested in your opinion, because everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
If you're going to disagree with me, then show me the information that you have that contradicts what I have. Otherwise, it's only your opinion, and I'm not interested in your opinion. That's just how I approach it for people. I'm not interested. If I want their opinion, I'll ask them for their opinion. And if it's their opinion, they should always put a kind of precursor on it, on the end of it, to say, by the way, it's only my opinion based on what I know. But unfortunately, psychologically, people see weakness as, they see not knowing something as a weakness. So instead of saying, I don't know, because that's a weakness, they cover it up and they go, well, I think that's a load of nonsense, da-di-da-di-da, rather than turn around. That means they lack confidence in their own intellect. Now, this is not subjective. This is objective psychology, because I've studied this and I've researched it. So when people turn around and you ask them something about, if you turn around to them, Melanie, and say, we have all this research from microchipping, da-di-da-di-da, and they turn around and they disagree with you, then you have to say, well, you're obviously disagreeing with me because either A, you have loads of research that contradicts what I have, which is better than mine, or B, you lack confidence in your own intellect and you're afraid to show a weakness. And this is how I do it. I mean, I'm not saying you have to do it this way, but this is how I do it, because somebody who is confident in their own intellect will say, I don't know much about that, so I can't really comment. That means they're confident in their intellect in a way that they'll show a weakness. But a lot of people aren't like that. They don't like not knowing. So they'll make an opinion or make an assumption based on some information they've seen in the media, which it doesn't really stand up to any scrutiny. But that's just my approach, and that's only because I've been in this for so long, and myself and Steve have been doing it for so long. That's generally how we approach it. But now I think these days, Steve, I think we probably have kind of fed up, we're not even talking, not trying to, we're happy to wake people up. But if somebody's going to have a go, because I find, sorry to say, go on a bit, but if you've spent all this time, Melanie, you and Lars and Jesse spent all this time studying this information, and somebody comes up and knocks your information and they've nothing to back it up, then they're insulting your intelligence, insulting your hard work that you've done. And I find that I find it very insulting. I find it, I just find it, it's not acceptable and it's not very respectful. So why should I be respectful to somebody who's insulting my research and my intelligence and the time I spent to do it? And I've come across a number of people like that. But yeah, I mean, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, the funny thing is with this, lawyer is actually, because he said, they have nothing to back it up, no scientific facts. I said, well, so if you think all this is bogus, and if you can give me another explanation for these measurements, positive measurements within a controlled environment, having these frequencies that we measured, these frequencies when we tested these people, and the frequencies were well in the range that this Faraday cage was actually supposed to cover. If you can give me any other explanation for that, that will hold water and scientific one that I can accept, and okay, then I might very well be crazy or or not saying the truth. But if you can't, well then it's either that you don't want to deal with this, or you're just not open to actually look at the facts.
Well, no, they're ignorant. It's ignorance. Ignorance is in the dictionary term. Ignorance is a lack of knowledge, and that's what they are.
Yeah, and the truth is that he couldn't come up, of course, with any other scientific explanation or any explanation at all for the positive results of these measurements. So all he then came up with was, well, it must be a cult.
Well, this is brilliant, because when you present, if you were to say to him, well, there's two things here. Number one, you have loads of research to back up what you're saying, or number two, you're ignorant. Which one are you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Who are you protecting? Because I mean, what makes me think that is that actually, with this psychiatric commitment attempt we were just talking about, I have then asked the prosecutor if I could view my file, because I really wanted to see what was going on. And he had written to my lawyer at that point saying, well, he sent the police to have me psychiatrically examined, which is not what they told me. They said it was for incarceration, for, commitment.
Yeah. Not
just an examination. And he said that I had written a letter with worrying words in this letter. All I wrote to him, which is perfectly my right, is I asked him if my complaint had been closed with follow-up, or if that was not the case, to please communicate me the name of the investigating judge. And I had also asked him to add the ICAACT report, the scanning in the controlled environment, to my file. He judged this, the prosecutor, so boring that his reaction was that he didn't find anything better than to send 3 guerrilla policemen, I must say, to my house to handcuff me and to try to commit me psychiatrically. I must then ask, Alan, well, if this letter concerned, as you said, boring words, well, I'm then asking, boring for whom? Whom is he protecting?
Yeah, I agree that there is a third option there. I'm going to go over to Steve, because Steve has had first-hand experience of this kind of attitude. Do you want to briefly tell us what your experience is, Steve, on trying to wake people up to the Wi-Fi in the school?
I didn't know where you were going with that one when you were saying, my first-hand experience. With the Wi-Fi in the school, yeah, I mean, we have my local school over here, Melanie, where my son goes. My daughter used to go, but she's moved on now. But my son still goes, and they have Wi-Fi, and it's the Wi-Fi seems to be on 24 hours a day. So I got a lot of the information that we've kind of been privileged to over the past couple of years, and I didn't want to dumb it down, but I presented it to the school, and it was brought up at a meeting. The school had a parents' association meeting, and I sent the information in. It was brought up. Now the information, it would have taken them maybe 10-15 minutes to go through it and then open it up for discussion. So I was actually waiting for a nice long email communicated back from the school, saying that they had discussed it at length and what conclusion they had come to. And as Alan said, about ignorance, I got a one-line email back, and it just basically, it wasn't even signed. I think it was just signed the parents' committee, but the one-line email just said that they had raised a question with the Department of Communications, and they said it was safe. And that was it. It wasn't even one full line, but I had sent them in a lot of information from experts, a lot of experts, and it was all kind of dismissed. And it's very disheartening when that happens, but it didn't deter me. I mean, I'm still going to keep fighting the good fight. I'm just going to, use different tactics.
Yeah, I understand. And I mean, this is like, just to say it's safe. I mean, with no scientific explanation or information to back that up, it sounds to me like very much like protecting the industry, protecting. It makes me think that we have here. I mean, that I suffer from a GAN, so which is basically a nanotechnology. If you see the report of Dr. Hildegard Stenninger, which once it's in your body, it also auto assembles and auto replicates in the human body. So I have another victim here in Belgium, a young man suffering from the same, and we went to the same toxologist who took actually samples from our skin and tried to analyze it under the microscope. At least we asked him to do that. And with me, he tried to cover it up, but he couldn't really because he was very insistent, and so I got my laboratory reports. With my younger colleague, unfortunately, here, he didn't even, finally refused to give him the laboratory reports, but told him on the phone that the fibers that come out of his skin are textile fibers and also is isolation material, and he doesn't think that this is dangerous, and he shouldn't worry, and he should get psychological help. Because I mean, as a taxologist, to say that it is not at all boring that there is, any kind of material coming out of somebody's skin. And on top of it, he didn't, succeed in, identifying it under a microscope. And then to write, but that's all not very grave, and that's all, not too worrying, and, just, see a psychologist. I think that's outrageous. It's an insult to all possible qualification this man, supposedly has.
Okay, well, I mean, that's terrible, that the fact that, the stuff coming out of the skin, For starters, that shouldn't be happening anyway. Listen, we have one question that's come in, and then we'll have to wrap it up from there, Melanie, because there's a few things we need to mention at the end of the show. We will do a longer interview with you down the line, and we'll have a chat with you. But really, it's for people to introduce you to the OYM audience, so they know who you are if they come across you on the website with the ICAACT.org website. And when they see the word Melanie, when they see you, Melanie, they'll know it's yourself. But Steve's going to do the question with you there. Over to you, Steve.
Yeah, Melanie, the one question that we wanted to ask you before we went live, but because the way things kind of turned out there at we had some technical issues. We never got to actually have a little kind of pre-interview chat with you just to I don't know. Well, whatever. But your surname, how do you we were kind of saying it's Vritschan. Is that correct?
Good, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Top of the class.
You have some Belgium in you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I am German actually, but I've been living in Brussels for 20 years. So
that's why you were talking German to Detlev, and you were very good at that as well. That's why.
Yeah, hopefully, I haven't forgotten everything yet.
No, brilliant. Okay, well, listen, Melanie, thanks a lot for coming on.
Oh,
hang on. Did you
I haven't asked you a question
Oh, I thought
yet.
you asked a question. I thought that was a question.
That was
inviting me spontaneously.
Yeah, no, that was one question, but that was my question.
Oh, okay.
I do have a question from Lee. Lee has just popped in, as he calls it, a triple-part question for Melanie. The people who are exposed or who are chipped, what frequencies are being used primarily upon the population? What purpose are these frequencies employed? Like, would it be Wi-Fi, or is it lower frequencies or higher frequencies? And what ailments could people expect to see from prolonged use of being exposed to these frequencies?
Well, I'm not a technical expert, but what I know is that also from an interview that Dr. John Hall did recently with Alex Jones, where he explained from a medical standpoint that the human brain is extremely susceptible to ELF, waves, extra low frequencies, and I think there are various technologies and frequencies used, to harm the human body. So I think in the 70s they used more like electromagnetic, waves. But in the recent years we have seen that there's more ELF technology used, and some do also say that there are scalar waves used. So the secret Tesla technology. So what we know of these two kind of waves is that there's virtually no shielding possible. They go right through the earth. So you could theoretically sit in China and beam somebody in Belgium, for example. So that is very boring. What physical ailments? Yeah, as I just said, cancers. Very fast growing cancers, strokes, heart attacks. It's also really when you're beamed with these weapons, these directed energy weapons, it is absolute torture, I can tell you. So you are absolutely not able to function normally, because you're basically being tortured. It's like somebody tasering you 24 hours round the clock every day. So there's various very, very dangerous, very big health risks. And I don't know if I may say that, but one of our more gallant victims that I had recently interviewed and that we had scanned, and he came up positive, has said to me yesterday that apparently they have announced to him that he has cancer in the colon. He's a British victim.
That's bad.
Yeah,
all this
is very shocking.
Yeah, it's terrible what's going on, and the sooner the better we get around to fixing it or exposing it and stopping it or finding a way to cure it. I think that's what we need to do, but we've just reached that time. We really need to finish up. But listen, Melanie, thanks again for coming on. Steve, if you want to go through details with Melanie there, and website details and all that.
Yeah, Melanie, again, as Alan said, thanks very much for coming on, giving us your time. We know you're busy, but can you just throw out the website address there for anyone who might be interested in learning more about the work of the ICAACT?
Yeah, so there's ICAACT.org, so ICAACT.org. So, you can find more information there, and also, if you want to, you can also, if you have symptoms, and if you can also contact us if you want to get a scan. And the other organization I have co-founded is the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment, EUCACH.org, so EUCACH.org. And EUCACH is more like a lobbying organization. It's basic. Our aims are to create appropriate legislation to totally ban these kind of weapons and technologies in the European Union.
Brilliant stuff. That's brilliant, Melanie. Well, that's what can I say? Just keep up the good work and keep up a good fight, and we'll do as much as we can to advertise yourself and what you're doing. But listen, we'll let you go. We're not even going to go off to a piece of music because we're running short on time. So we'll just let you go on Skype. But listen, take care of yourself. Have a good meeting. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay. Right. Okay. Sorry, we normally go to a piece of music, but we've got a few minutes left. Just a few things to touch base on for during the week. Just a couple of things that I just want to catch up on. I did mention that I'd mention a few things about from a engineering, electronics kind of solar panel free energy kind of way. Just a couple of things. One of the things I came across before I do that was a statement that was made by Cobra, and I thought it was quite poignant actually. He said the cabal controls the mass media and they don't want people to know, because if people know about this brings them hope, and if people have hope they will resist more and they are not so controlled. This is what the cabal don't want. So the more people know, it brings them hope. So that's what we need to do, keep waking people up. But just the things I want to touch base on. I was looking at, I had to go back to some teachings in the past of Ohm's law and working out calculations regarding solar panels, because I wanted to work out how many panels I would need to get so much energy to produce so much power, and I just based it on about 500 watts. And although it's feasible, the cost alone of getting the parts would probably be about 300 or 500 quid, So the initial outlay. We have a phone call. It's going to be very, very quick. Yeah.
Take it?
Yeah. Hello, caller. Hello. No, it's Alan. How are you doing? You have a very, very quick minute. Go ahead. Is this Patrick, is it?
Just quickly, if people look for Probe International UFO Conference,
okay.
You can get it on YouTube. They'll get a bit of a dot connector, as far as I'm concerned, on the UFO in the Crimea plus the missing plane.
Brilliant. Probe in.
Very interesting. Hopefully, I'll let you. Bye, Alan. Cheers, mate.
Okay, Probe International. Is it, Patrick?
Yeah, Probe International UFO Conference. It was the 22nd, so that was yesterday, I presume, yeah. And a bit of a connection there between the Crimea and the plane missing.
Brilliant stuff. Super. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks for ringing in. Take care, mate. Okay, bye-bye. Right, okay, that's Patrick, Probe International, if you want to check that out. Information about the missing plane and the actual Dreadnought over the Ukraine. Again, very quickly, one of the things I'm testing out, I'm going to be testing it when they come in this week. You know about the incandescent light bulbs. They're trying to get rid of them, and they're trying to give us all these CFL, energy saving, mercury poisoning, gas coming out, radio frequencies, and da-di-da-di-da. Well, I'm trying out. I've ordered a couple of LED bulbs, and the whole idea is they take about 5 watts, but they give you the light of a 60-watt bulb. So next week, if they come on during the week, when Steve comes to the studio, we'll have one plugged in.
What colour will it be?
Well, daylight, I suppose. Bright white.
Okay.
Right. Okay. It's not going to be a disco.
So I've actually heard some good things about those LED bulbs. Actually, that they're not as dangerous. Again, this is kind of off the cuff remark. I haven't researched it, but I've heard that they're not half as dangerous as the CFLs. There's no mercury in them, so I think that's good, and it's definitely a step forward.
Definitely. Well, hopefully if they come in during the week, we'll have one in here in the studio, and then we'll see what it's like. Just to let you know. The other thing I want to be playing with, I've ordered. There's a few plans on YouTube of guys using computer fans to make magnetic motors and energy. Now when I say the term free energy, it's only a term of reference, by the way. I know the energy has to come from somewhere, because I know somebody's going to jump on and send an email and go, there's no such thing as free energy. It's only a term of reference, please. But basically the whole idea will be to make a motor based on magnets, generate power, and maybe create a phone charger from that, and maybe, I don't know, have a look at inverters. I don't know. We'll see anyway. We'll see. If I have the time to do it, I'll do it. But that's really it. 4 minutes to go. That's not bad. We've got everything done. That's quite a tight schedule. Again, we apologise for not having Piers on the show. We had an idea it'd be a bit hit and miss because he's over in the States at the moment. We will get him back on again because we need. Yeah, I know Vince said Vince just saying the PC fan scam. Well, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of a laugh. We'll have a bit of fun with it anyway. See what happens. But what you call it? Yeah, Piers we'll get him on again in a few weeks' time. I'll ring him when he comes back from the US, and we'll arrange a time and we'll get him on the show and talk about all things weather. Now we're going to hand over. Unfortunately, the People's Internet Radio, their stream the server's not working, so we're going to give them the OYM stream. So for people expecting to hear our podcast after the show of this show, you won't hear it till probably tomorrow, because we're giving the guys in People's Internet Radio the OYM stream so they can carry on and do their shows after us. And I think after us next, Steve, do you know who's on next? Vin, I think?
I do believe it's Vin.
You do believe it's Vin?
The sultry tones of Vincent.
Okay, so Vin's going to be on after us. So for now, we'll let you go. We'll let Vin connect up and have a go at the OYM stream to make sure that it's working for them. So we'll shut down a little bit early. So for myself, Alan James, take it easy, stay safe, and if you have any news or any links, you find out any information, give us a shout, let us know, and we'll get the old links sent out to you there. So take care. Good night.
I love it. Okay, and for myself as well, Stephen George, have a great week. And again, if you have any info, jot it. I was going to say jot it down on a piece of paper and send it in to us. No, don't do that. Send it in an email, especially if you have any pictures of chemtrails or funny happenings going on in the sky. So I'm going to have to jump up now and press a button.
That's okay.
Alan's going to press the button for me because I can't read it. Okay, catch you all again next week, and stay safe. Take care. Bye bye.